Okay, let's talk about this fight, man. Manny Pacquiao, Errol Spence. Yeah, I just want to say I really appreciate all of the comments and the support and the amount of views I've got on doing these Pacquiao videos is unbelievable. I didn't expect it, to be honest. Like I said, this isn't a boxing channel, so for my regular subscribers, don't panic because I'm still putting out the content in which you subscribe to the channel for, which is, dating, confidence advice, and, tips and advice on how to get over your shyness, your social anxiety, how to be more confident, how to be more fearless in your life. It's just that, obviously, at this moment in time, there's been so many negative things going on in the world with the pandemic, COVID. Boxing is something that I've been passionate about all my life, and I think there's so many good life lessons you can take from boxing, and you can apply them with getting over your social anxiety. You can apply them with, overcoming things that you've been through in your life, adversity, bullying, mental health struggles, financial struggles, accommodations, all types of struggles that all of us go through at some point in our life. We all have that in common. We might be different from different places, and we might be born in different places, but we all share in common that we're human, and we're all on trying to find happiness in the time we have. Anyway, I want to talk about this fight because it's one a lot of us are looking forward to, and there's a few more things on my mind that I wanted to share. And yeah, I still stand on my opinion. It's interesting that some people get offended when I say that I think Pacquiao's the greatest fighter to ever do it. And I'll say that again. I don't mean that like literally, I mean that for me. So that's my opinion. So your opinion might be different. Mike Tyson might be the greatest fighter as far as you're concerned, and I respect that. I'm not going to attack you because you think Mike Tyson's the greatest, or you might think Roy Jones Jr. or James Toney or whoever you support, whoever you love watching. And there's loads of boxers that I like, and if you've listened to any of my boxing videos on my other channel, which is for boxing, Let's Talk Boxing, and some of the videos I've done, the reason I've done Pacquiao on this video because he's bigger than just a boxer. He's a huge inspiration to so many people. No, not just Filipino people. Obviously he is, because he's obviously loved by his people. But to every walk of life, what difference does it make where someone's from? Some people are commenting, oh, because Pacquiao's from this, or I don't really care where the person's from. I care about, how good they are, and whether I like that person. And in Pacquiao's case, I really like the way he conducts himself. I think he's a great role model, and he's a fantastic fighter. And out of all the boxers that I've ever watched, and I've watched hundreds, and I've been watching boxing for over 20 years, there's no boxer that I've ever watched that excites me and inspires me more than Pacquiao. And I've given my reasons. And Joe Calzaghe's is one of my favourites, probably my second. It's hard to say second or third. I think Calzaghe for me is the best British fighter to ever come out of Britain. And some people might not agree on that. That's fine. Some people might say they think Lennox Lewis is. Some people think Prince Nazim is. Again, it's opinions. It's an opinion. So you shouldn't be getting offended because I say I think Manny's the greatest. If you think Floyd's the greatest, I'm not going to get offended by that. I'm not going to throw a hate campaign. I'm not going to say nasty things about you because I'm not that type of person. I wasn't brought up like that, and I don't go on people's channels trolling. I always say nice things, or if I don't like what they're doing, I just keep my mouth shut and just continue what I'm doing. But that's people for you. People will always be up. There's always going to be someone that won't like you for any reason. Because the t-shirt you wear, your hairstyle, because you like this football team or you like that person. So it doesn't really bother me. I love doing this. I enjoy it. If anything, I kind of like it when you get some criticism because it increases the views. It gets the message out. It gets the positive people looking. So as much as we don't like trolling, without trolling, it's a contradiction in a sense, because without it, we wouldn't grow to better human beings, and it's another challenge that we all have in our lives. And everybody's going to have a troll in their life at some point, unless you you know, hide under a rock for the rest of your life, and you just remain silent. But then you probably still have a troll somewhere. There's probably one with me right now. Where is he? Where is he? I can't hear him. He's quiet. Nothing at the moment. Anyway, let's get to the fight. Right, I'm rambling. I saw a little interview of Pacquiao when he was in his suit. I think he was working. You know, he's a senator, right? He's in politics. He looked like he was working in. He was at work at the moment, and then someone had a video camera. But I tell you what, man, I saw a real eye of a tiger in Pacquiao's, in the eye contact. I think he's really taking this fight serious. I think, not saying anger, but there was almost like that mean streak and I do like when Pacquiao's got that, because there was a while where he didn't have that for a few fights, where Freddie Roach was saying Pacquiao, you know, and I respect. I'm the same faith of Pacquiao. I believe in Jesus, but again, and I respect everybody other faith. So, oh God, people are offended by everything. So, whatever faith you are, if you don't believe in it, I respect you as a human being. That's main thing is, you know, having decent values. So, when he fought Thurman, he had that mean streak back, you know, and I can see it. He has that. You know, he thinks people are doubting him again. You know, he thinks that people think he's an old man, he's washed up, or, you know, because he's 42 and Thurman's 30 or 31, a lot younger, he wants to prove everybody wrong, and that's a good thing. So that gives me more confidence, and I'm more confident in Pacquiao pulling off the. Is it impossible? Is that word? Maybe that's a bit of an exaggeration. I wouldn't say impossible to beat Spence, but it's a difficult task at this moment in time, being how good Errol Spence is, and, you know, and the fact that obviously Pacquiao is right at the end of his career, and, you know, Spence is still kind of, what would you say, he's a bit midway, if I can give an estimation. I might not be fully factual, but he's still got a few more fights to go. I don't think he's close to retiring at the moment. I could see Errol Spence even going up to middleweight, maybe super middleweight, and maybe fighting Canelo at some point. I'd love to see that fight, by the way. Canelo, Errol Spence, and this is just my opinion again. If that fight did happen, I personally want Errol Spence to win, all right? I like Canelo, he's a brilliant fighter, but I'd want Errol to do it. I like Errol, like I said, if he wasn't fighting Pacquiao, I'd be rooting for Errol Spence. I think he's a great champion, and again, I kind of like his personality. I like the way he carries himself. Yeah, just seeing, I don't think Pacquiao's lost speed, you know. Someone said, oh, because it's been 2 years, Pacquiao's, you know, he ain't going to have that speed against Errol Spence that he had against Thurman, but I don't believe it. Seeing him on the pads, seeing him training shadowboxing, and I know pads and shadowboxing is not the same as the fight, but there's just, you can kind of tell. I think the 2 years would be good for Pacquiao to recharge his batteries, his duties in politics, and obviously family, and the things that he's doing in his personal life. But I just feel like Pacquiao's got one big fight left in him. I think he can do this. I think he can win it, right? But I honestly believe Pacquiao can beat him. Pacquiao shows up like he did against Thurman, and you know, and again, it's true. Styles. I've seen a lot of people online that seem to be, they know what they're talking about. Not just like people that work for the big networks, but, you know, people like myself that have been watching boxing, got their own independent channels, and a lot of people are saying that they believe that Styles make fights and Pacquiao's going to win this fight. That, you know, Errol Spence is going to struggle with the speed and the movement and the angles. So it's such a fascinating matchup, this, you know, and the fact that we're even talking like this says how good Pacquiao is. Because let's be logical for a second. If we judge this on age, Pacquiao being 42, and the guy has had, I think Pacquiao's had about 70 fights, right? He's probably had double the fights that Spence has had, right? I'm pretty confident of that, right? Or at least, if he's not had double, he's had maybe 20 more fights than Spence. And the fact that Pacquiao's been hell and back, he's been in wars, he's had so many big victories, he's had a few knockouts, he's come back, he's had some terrible decisions where I think he got robbed. The fact that he's still at the top, and, you know, and we're still kind of going, whoa, as good as Errol Spence is, you look, you know, Errol Spence in his own right, maybe I'm not going to say he looks unbeatable, but he kind of does look like he's going to be very difficult to beat him, you know, and he's a big guy, strong, the fact that we're saying Pacquiao has got a really good chance really says something about Pacquiao and the timing of this fight. And that's what intrigues me, you know. It's the timing of the fight that, you know, one legend is, who's for me is the greatest to ever do it, in my opinion. Some will agree, some won't. I don't really care. It doesn't make a difference to me. Whether you agree or you disagree, it doesn't change my personal opinion. And I encourage anybody who wants to become a better version of themselves or stop caring what others think to start, you know, staying strong on what you believe in, regardless of what I think, what your friends think, what the next person thinks. Because if you just agree with other people so they like you and it protects you from, you know, anybody shouting at you or criticizing you, then look at the harm you're doing to yourself. You know, a slow death you're causing to, you know, spiritually. So by all means, guys, have your opinions. And just because I want Pacquiao to win it, I'm not against Errol. I like Errol Spence. I'm a fan of Errol. It's just that I'm a bigger Pacquiao fan. I've been supporting Pacquiao for years before I even knew who Errol Spence was. I think before he probably even turned professional, because of, you know, the age gap between them. So, what a great matchups, two southpaws. But it's weird, isn't it? Because we always do this. We always do it. When Pacquiao fought De La Hoya, we did this. We said De La Hoya is going to be the stronger man. When Pacquiao fought Cotto, we said, oh, well, Cotto's the stronger man. When Pacquiao fought Margarito, oh, Margarito's going to be the stronger man. Oh, when Pacquiao fought Furman, oh, Furman's the stronger man. But the fact is, they weren't the stronger man. Miguel Cotto wasn't the stronger man because Pacquiao kicked his ass. No disrespect to Cotto, another great fighter that I like. I saw Miguel Cotto actually in real life. This is true in London, and I said hello to him. He kind of he didn't look too pleased. He gave me a dirty look and looked at me like, "Who are you?" And I was just fine. I don't take it personal. I still think he's a good person and a great champion. But Pacquiao, wow, it was unbelievable. So he outdone him. De La Hoya, another great, one of the greats, someone that I loved watching growing up. Pacquiao dismantled him. You know, Furman. So we say this all the time, and we're saying it again, and maybe I'm going to be wrong this time, and I don't care if I am. I'm not right about everything, but we're saying Spence is the stronger man. How do we know that though? How do we know that for 100% when the fight hasn't happened? We say that all the time. We always do it because we judge on size so much when it's Manny. But Manny has been beating big men since flipping early 2000s, probably even longer than that when he was an amateur. He's always the smaller man. You know, he's small for a welterweight. He's, what's he, 5'5.5" at best. He's not even 150 pounds, probably not even 148 pounds. He's around 145, struggles to even, I heard to make 147, he has to eat extra dinners. That's what I do. That's why I can't make 147. But no, seriously, he has to eat, you know, meals on the day after the weigh-in to put some weight on. So that tells you he's not even naturally a natural welterweight. And these guys that he's going in with, like Spence, De La Hoya, these are all natural middleweights, even bigger. All of them. Cotto, Cotto ended up retiring up the middleweight. De La Hoya fought up at, I think it was middleweight when he fought Hopkins. Furman he's not exactly Furman's not a small welterweight. He's a pretty built guy. He comes down, he blows up, which tells you that's how you always know someone is bigger than their weight. If they're really big when they're not fighting and they've got a big face and they're chubbier, you know that they're not really a welterweight. They've got to boil down. And obviously that's their fighting weight, which is a difference between, for those of you that don't know, what the weight you walk around and the weight that you fight is generally different, because most average person is not going to be fit at their current weight because we're all overeat. We probably know most people don't train correctly or hard enough, and you know, until you're actually, unless you're choosing to be an athlete. So I'm not convinced necessarily. Yeah, Errol Spence is taller and he's bigger built than Pacquiao, and maybe he can lift heavier weights, who knows. But is he stronger? I don't know about that. I think Pacquiao is stronger. He punches hard and speed is power. So I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced till I see the fight, and if I'm proven to be wrong, then I go, oh, you know what, I was wrong. Yeah, Errol Spence was stronger, but until it happens, there's a question mark on it. So I sometimes think we get too caught up on that. We don't look at the things that are really, I'm not saying they're not important, but we always do it with Pacquiao, don't we? We always judge him on his size, but we don't go, well, and people did that with Mayweather. Mayweather, again, in many ways, similar to Pacquiao, Mayweather was never a big welterweight. Most of Mayweather's fights, not all of them, but most, he was fighting bigger men as well. He fought De La Hoya, bigger man. He fought Cotto, bigger man. You know, I think maybe on the night it looked like Hatton was kind of same size, but naturally Ricky Hatton was bigger than Mayweather. He's losing loads of weight to make that weight. You know, Mayweather's fought so many fighters that have been bigger than him, but he beat all of them with skill and speed and timing and IQ, and that's what Pacquiao's got: speed, skill, timing, relentlessness. So when we say he's stronger, well, what are we talking about here? What, wrestling? It's not wrestling, it's boxing. So yeah, Errol Spence might be physically, he can grab Pacquiao and he can push him off, but Pacquiao's got the strength where he can get back into position and come in with the combinations, and he can knock Spence out, he can stop him, he can drop him, he can outwork him, he can hurt him. He's got the ability to do it, unless Pacquiao, and none of us want to see it, well, who are fans, unless he gets old overnight, and it's not Pacquiao anymore. It's not the Pacquiao that we once knew, and at some point every boxer's going to not going to have it no more. And that's you know, we saw it with even though it's an exhibition, Mayweather fighting Logan Paul. He's not the Floyd anymore. He's Floyd Mayweather. He's still Floyd Mayweather, but he's not the prime. He's not as good as he was anymore, because he's 44 and he's been out the ring and he's retired, and now he's just doing exhibitions. So he's not the and obviously I still think Pacquiao is going to be, I think he's going to be the Pacquiao we saw in the Furman fight. But what do you guys think? That's what I would love to know in this video. More importantly, because obviously I know my opinion, I'm with myself 24 hours a day. Let me know who you think is going to win this fight and why. And I think Pacquiao can do it. It's going to be interesting. It's a great fight, and he looks, Pacquiao, he looks serious. He looks almost a little bit. He's got the mean streak. He's got that kind of. He looks. He was, when he was being interviewed, he was almost like in a bad mood. He was almost like, it's not a problem, you know, my speed. And when the guy was saying, you know, how do you feel about, you know, Errol Spence being bigger, stronger, younger, and Pacquiao, it's okay, it's no problem. Speed is the key, as Pacquiao said. A lot of action in the ring. As Pacquiao always says when it's interview him, what do you think? He go, a lot of action in the ring, toe to toe. We're going to give the fans a lot of action. So I'm looking forward to a great fight, man. Certainly should be a lot better than watching these exhibitions, which they're not really entertaining in my opinion. But we won't get into that. I've already done a video on Logan Paul Mayweather. But anyway, for the regular subscribers, I'm doing these videos to inspire you to stop caring about what people think, speak up, go after your goals and be yourself, and stop trying to fit in and not saying your opinion because you're scared about what others will think. If you like this artist, then say it, this musician, this boxer, or whatever you want to do in your life, stop giving a crap about what other people think, all right? Become fearless. Talk to you soon.